And so it's not that I have proof. I can't prove anything. I just think it's highly sus. Highly sus. And to those of you defending Nick Bare saying, no, he's natural, you're just jealous. Listen, I am cheering, rooting for Nick Bare to win. Coach Greg, and in today's video, Nick Bare wins his competition, and he almost takes the overall. And remember, this was not a drug-tested competition. You can take what you want. Yet he claims to be 100% natural, but comes in at his all-time best, looking amazing. And so first things first, it's possible for someone to look this good, to be this shredded with this much muscle. He's 5'11" and a quarter, about 190 pounds, shredded on stage, probably close to 6% body fat. But the question is, did he do it natural? Looking back at his history, I've stated that I don't believe the guy was 100% natural his entire life. In particular, around 9 years ago, at the age of around 23, 24, the guy was 220 pounds, around 12% body fat. He then went to Ranger School and dropped 50 pounds of muscle, put on 10 pounds of fat in 6 months. How does someone lose 50 pounds of muscle while being in a calorie surplus? That's right, he was eating more calories than he was burning, evidenced by him getting fatter. He increased his body fat to about 20%. While at the same time dropping 50 pounds of muscle. He went from 220 looking like a jacked bodybuilding phenom to 180 pounds looking like an average guy in 6 months. And to me, the only way that could happen is that the guy was on PDs and then went off of them. If you're on anabolics weighing 220 pounds and you suddenly remove those anabolics, it's going to be a lot more difficult to retain that muscle. But if you built a 220-pound chiseled physique, 100% natural, and you stop going to the gym and you only train half-assed, perhaps you're just doing burpees, push-ups, chin-ups, and jogging, you're not going to lose 50 pounds of muscle. Imagine I'm 190 pounds right now. Imagine I stopped working out completely. Never went to the gym for a single day. Do you really think I would lose 50 pounds of muscle? Do you think I would drop down to 140? Of course not. Yet Nick Bare lost 50 pounds of muscle in his early 20s while he claims being 100% natural. I don't buy it. It's possible that since that time, he had been 100% natural. I don't believe it. I believe he's on HRT or taking something else, but maybe it is in fact possible. But based on the fact that the guy was doing Ironmans, running 100-mile races, competing in marathons, running a sub 250 marathon time, while lifting incredible amounts of weights, I just don't believe that the guy did this while being natural. But he said, oh, I'm going to prove the haters wrong. I'm going to show my blood work. And show his blood work he did, yes. And what were the results? Testosterone, 109 nanograms per deciliter, with the bottom line of low being 250. And so essentially less than half of the testosterone that a hypogonadal man would have. And his free testosterone, even worse, get this, 1.08. And so essentially tagged testosterone. Horrible. If anyone went to any HRT clinic in the world and presented this blood work, the doctor would say, oh my goodness, there's no way you have a sex drive. There's no way you can function. You'd have brain fog. And you probably have no muscle in sight. You are clearly hypogonadal and have the testosterone levels of a female. And so as far as I know, Nick Bare is in fact a male. How could he have testosterone this low? Well, people are going to say, oh, it's because he crash dieted. He's running 35 miles a week, and he's on a calorie deficit, eating 1,800 calories, and so, of course, his testosterone is lower. Yeah, it's going to be lower, but not this low. Do you know how you can get testosterone levels this low? By stopping a performance-enhancing drug cycle. If you are on cycle and suddenly stop, your testosterone levels are going to crash. That's how it works. And then you require a PCT or time, several months, to get your testosterone levels back to normal. Or you're currently on PDs, but you're not taking tests. And so, for example, let's say you're taking MK677 or a SARM, let's call it RAD140, perhaps Ostarine. Or an oral, such as Anavar, possibly T-ball. If you took these supplements, what would happen is your natural production of tests would tank. Why? Because your body's getting androgens elsewhere from outside the body. And so your nutsack goes on vacation. And so your test levels, they go down. And so what else does he show? He shows LH and FSH severely tagged compromise. You know what can cause that? Taking performance-enhancing drugs. And notice his SHBG, it's very high. You know what can cause SHBG to be that high? Taking T3, a thyroid medication, if you were to abuse that could in fact cause SHBG to go up. And so when trying to decide if a guy's a fake natural, you have to put yourself in their shoes. Why would he show some blood markers and avoid others? For example, if you're on orals, for example, Anavar, D-bol, Anadrol, possibly SARMs such as Rad140, Ostrine, do you know what would go high? Liver markers showing stress on the liver. Notice he doesn't show those. Also, when taking performance-enhancing drugs, oftentimes your HDL is tanked and LDL goes up. Your HDL-LDL ratio, it becomes severely compromised. Also, creatinine, that oftentimes is elevated by people who are using PEDs. And so if you're a fake natty and you don't want the world to know what you're doing, you wouldn't show those because somebody like Coach Greg, Derek, or whoever might say, that is highly suspicious. Well, look at here. Guy's got his testosterone levels tanked, LH, FSH really down, SHBG is high, but yet I see his liver enzymes are through the roof, his cholesterol's a mess. And what's up with his kidneys? Looks like the guy's taking Anavar but not taking tests. Because remember, if you don't take testosterone but take other performance-enhancing drugs, your testosterone levels can be very, very low while you're still getting the performance-enhancing benefits of the steroids that you're taking. And so it's not that I have proof. I can't prove anything. I just think it's highly sus. Highly sus! And to those of you defending Nick Bare saying, no, he's natural, you're just jealous. Listen, I am cheering, rooting for Nick Bare to win. I love to see guys who are pushing themselves to be all they could be. And consider that I competed in abused PDs for 10 years. Do you really think I'm so naive as to think that guys who are at this level would not take PDs? That everyone is just so honest and open and they just want to share everything? Remember, Nick Bare owns a supplement company. Do you really think he wants to be outed? And so I'm not saying he's abusing PDs. I'm not saying he's breaking any rules. I'm not saying he's not telling his doctor. But I am saying that he's selected to show certain blood markers but avoid others. And look at the guy's physique. Does it look natural? And you're thinking, some people look like that natural. Yeah, 1 in 1,000. And you're thinking, yeah, I'm looking at his physique. He doesn't look on steroids. He's not big as Chris Bumstead. Not everyone who takes PDs looks like Chris Bumstead. It doesn't work like that. And for the most part, the majority, that means most people on enhancements for years will never look as good as Nick Bare. If the guy's actually natural and running 35 miles a week on an 1,800 calorie diet while training in the gym harder than last time, does it actually make sense that he would retain all that muscle? Of course not. He has the testosterone levels of a female. How can you possibly have the testosterone levels of a female, go to the gym, have amazing workouts, feel good, look amazing, while your testosterone levels are in the toilet? It doesn't make sense. If that's the case, why would anyone need HRT? His test levels are lower than a 90-year-old grandpa. Yet, look at his physique. Does he look like he needs HRT? And so if he was 100% natural and had test levels this low, the guy would be losing muscle hand over fist. He's running 35 miles a week on a crash diet while training harder than last time in the gym. Oh, but he did it natural. Why? How does he break every rule known to man, woman's circle? Natty or not, I still like Nick Bare. He is a beast combining lifting and endurance running. Absolutely, to do that amount of cardio and training on a low-calorie diet, it's literally what I've done. And I'm a pro bodybuilder, and I didn't do it natural. And so imagine, if it was hard for me to do with PDs, how is it that Nick Bare can do it 100% natural with crushed testosterone and still be a normal guy? I mean, by definition, do you not require testosterone to keep all those muscles? I mean, how can you suddenly tank your testosterone levels and not lose all your muscle? How is that possible? The amount of training volume that he does could be using all that test. There is no one on earth that could do all that running, biking, swimming, and lifting and look like that without drugs. A true natty would die of exhaustion. Well, that's a little bit of a stretch, but a true natty would lose most of their muscle. Remember, this is the same guy that lost 50 pounds of muscle and put on 10 pounds of fat close to 10 years ago, back when he was a newer lifter and had more newbie gains. And so how is it possible that close to 10 years later, the guy's running 35 miles a week while on a crash diet to get shredded for competition, but yet keeps his muscle? And I would argue has more muscle, looks better now than when he began his prep. He had the vascularity, the fullness, the shreds, close to 6% body fat, and all while running 35 miles a week, lifting weights on an 1,800 calorie diet. I don't have proof, I don't know for sure, but I'm telling you my opinion. My opinion is, I don't believe this is possible natural. Perhaps 1 in a billion can do it. Maybe he's that guy. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I think. The guy won the show, and if he said, hey, I wasn't 100% natural, but I was close to it. I used a little bit of stuff, just like Joe Linder. Did Joe Linder claim to be natural? No, he says, I took HRT. I added in a bit of Primo. I took this and that, little bit, not much. I didn't want to abuse anything. But perhaps he doesn't want anyone to know. He does have the right to privacy. But if you claim to be natural and show blood work trying to prove that you're natural, but you only select to show 5 of those blood markers and avoid the rest, well, to me, that is being dishonest. And so why not show it all? And so my personal opinion is the guy didn't do it natural. He won first place. To me, he possibly could have won the overall. And he admittedly, in one of his videos, he said he crash dieted. He was trying to shorten the contest prep time, and so he went to 1,800 calories a day. He's also running, which is highly catabolic. Most people running in a calorie deficit who are also lifting weights, they're going to feel horrible. They're going to lose almost all their muscle. They end up at the contest looking like a string bean. Yet, in my opinion, he looked like he added muscle tissue on his frame from when he first started his contest prep. And yes, it is possible to build muscle when you're in a calorie deficit. But what about in a huge calorie deficit while running 5 miles a day? While overtraining consistently, not getting enough sleep. And when you're in your 30s, remember, he's not a new lifter. And so the most likely scenario would have been he'd lose a ton of muscle. Anyone can get shredded if they're in a calorie deficit long enough, but oftentimes the side effect of that is you lose most of your muscle. And so had he showed up and been 170, 175 pounds, I would have said, makes sense. He looks great, sure, but he's lost a ton of muscle. But given the fact that he did all of that cardio running while lifting weights, overtrained with high stress, cortisol through the roof, I don't think he did it natural. And remember, he did this without even taking NMN. NMN, the main ingredient in GO2 Max. This is for tremendous boost in cardio. Yet he's doing this 100% natural and not even taking one of, if not the best natural supplement in the entire world. Imagine doing a contest prep without GO2 Max, without NMN. The double-blind, placebo-controlled human studies showed just how effective this is. NMN was discussed on the Joe Rogan podcast featuring Andrew Huberman, episode 1958, the last 16 and a half minutes, explaining how much energy it gave Andrew Huberman. Remember, it's not just for couch potatoes, it's for everyone. Elite level athletes, guys who are not even going to the gym. You will see tremendous improvements in your fitness, and it can ward off age-related illnesses. And so if you're interested, head over to my website right now. Use code Greg, 10% off. Remember, if you have no money, still head over to my website, giving you a free diet and training program, over 50 pages. I want you to get in the shape of your life. And remember, it's not a diet, it's to help you lose weight and maintain it for the rest of your life. You owe it to yourself to try harder than last time to be your best. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't compare yourself to Nick Bear or myself. Compare you to you. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment for the algorithm. Do you think Nick is natural? Am I wrong or am I right? Cookbooks, training books, coaching plans by me and my team, the HCLT clothing line, supplements. Head over to the website. Don't forget to watch one of those 2 bloops. Also, follow me on the gram, Greg Doucette IP Pro. Lots going on there. And until next time, I am out.